Hey guys, Jared Wesley here of Live Traders, and it is that time of the week. It is lecture time. And this week's topic, guys, is trade within yourself. Okay, so lately I've been doing a little series on psychology. This is kind of the third lecture in a row on psychology, and today's kind of no different. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into your brain, into the discipline, into the patience, into the psychological aspects, but obviously a little bit different than last week's topic. Why? Because I still think many of you are missing the point. You're still placing blame on external influences rather than accepting the blame for yourself, for your actions. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't accept the blame, you can't fix the problem. Right? Think about that for a second. If what's happening to you is an external influence and you have no power over it, then you can't fix it. Whereas if you accept that blame, okay, and you have power over it, you can make the necessary adjustments, okay? So we're going to talk about not taking those stop losses. We're going to talk about selling too soon. We're going to talk about failed traders and why they fail and why successful traders do so well, okay? And I'm telling you guys, everyone out there, you have an opportunity to be a great trader. Don't pass up that opportunity. Don't make excuses for that opportunity. It truly is a valuable opportunity. And when taken properly with patience, time, discipline, etc., great things happen. All right. I think a lot of people think, oh, this business is just a bunch of gamblers out there. It's not. There are so many profitable traders out there, and we'll see some in this lecture here. You need to understand that this is a business just like anything and everything else. So one of the things you'll see inside this lecture, for example, how is it that Spud Webb at 5'5" tall can play in the NBA? How is that possible? Because he plays to his strengths. He's not trying to be an NBA center. He knows that that's not realistic. So for you guys out there, stop trying to be something you're not. Okay, you can still be an effective, profitable trader without being an NBA center, without being a 4R all or nothing trader, without being a long-term. You can find your niche, all right? Find what makes you click. But the problem for most of you, you're not being honest with yourself. And because you're not being honest, you're trading in a capacity or in a way that's not conducive to your core beliefs or your personality. So you're fighting yourself all of the time. Go with the flow. But to do this takes objectivity. It takes mindfulness. It takes checking the ego at the door. Without it, you'll never be a great trader. So we're going to dig deep into that topic today. Guys, if you like these videos, please click that like button, smash, hammer that subscribe button. I am Jared Wesley of Live Traders. Let's get to it. This week's lecture topic is trade within yourself. So over the last couple weeks, we have done a couple lectures about psychology, and we're going to continue on that theme because technicals are very important. As you guys know, we've talked about those, and we will get back to technical lectures as well. But the technicals don't mean anything if you can't manage a chart, if you can't follow your plan, if you don't understand yourself and who's trading. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go a little deeper on the psychology once again, because until you sort that out, you will never, and I do mean never, be a great trader. And that's not to say you won't be a great trader. It's just that if you don't take care of this, you won't be a great trader. Okay, so focusing on what's really, 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 really important. And many of you talk about wanting to do this, but you don't have any actionable steps. You don't have any actionable plan. It's kind of like when Unmal talks about complaining about a problem with no solution. If you complain about a problem with no solution, it's just a problem with no solution, right? So you want, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit about that today, but if you're having an issue, no matter what it is, you have to sort that out and figure, hey, who do I need to speak to? What do I need to do so that I can overcome this? Because you know the definition of insanity, right, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. For example, you sell too soon and you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go meditate. I feel so much better. I'm not going to sell too soon tomorrow. And then tomorrow you sell too soon. And then you're not, I'm going to meditate again. And then the next day you sell too. And then you say, I'm going to meditate again. And just You're not changing anything. You're doing the same thing over and over without a different result. And too many traders do this. You somehow think that magically time by itself will be the deciding factor. It can't just be time. Time is a factor, but it can't just be time. So before we dig into all of this, we must first talk about when will the insanity stop? When will it stop? This week's? What? Slide's gone. Shoot. Uh-oh. I'm just joking on purpose. This week's When Will the Insanity Stop has been delayed because I've put it somewhere else in today's lecture. Okay, so yes, there is a When Will the Insanity Stop, but it's deeper in today's lecture on purpose, okay, because I think it's more relevant to what we'll be talking about at that time. So there is one. It's temporarily been halted, okay? When Will the Insanity has been censored? But no, on a serious note, you'll see one, but not just yet. All right, so fact. Most traders beat themselves. Don't get it twisted. You beat yourself. Most of the time, the market doesn't beat you. You beat you, right? You beat you. So think about that for a second. How often do you perfectly follow your plan? 50% of the time? 60, 70, 80, 90? Probably not 100. So when you lose, sure, you're going to take some trades that don't work. That's okay. That's not beating yourself. Taking a really good trade that doesn't work is not beating yourself. Beating yourself is when a stock goes 4R and you're supposed to get 4R and you make 1R. Beating yourself is when you're supposed to stop out for minus $100 loss, but you lose $300. Beating yourself is when your plan says maximum 3 trades today, and you take 7 trades today. Beating yourself is taking a pattern that's not in your trading plan. Beating yourself is blindly following somebody else and having no idea what it is that they're doing. Beating yourself is making money Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and giving all of it back on Friday. So now you're all like, shit, I do beat myself. I beat myself frequently, okay? So, yes, slightly polarizing perhaps. But let's have a look at this. Slightly polarizing perhaps. Oof. Ouch. Oh, this is what beating yourself looks like. Now, I understand, Patriot Nation, all of you people that never watched football in the 1990s because they were going to actually move the team out of Boston. Ask me how I know, because I went to college in Boston in the 90s and nobody even knew where Foxborough was. You didn't. Nobody showed up for the games. They were going to move the team to Hartford of all places. So don't give me that crap. But my point I'm making is this is what beating yourself looks like. You're up 28-3. With 17 minutes left in the game. Now, granted, they're on second and goal with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. But the question you got to ask yourself is, we relate this to trading, okay? Have you ever done this? Money, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Give it all back Friday. Have you ever had 3 up weeks in a month and the 1 down week takes your whole month away? And maybe you make a little money, but you were up way more. Like you're up, I was up 20 grand and I end the month up 2 grand or minus 2 grand. Never done that? You're beating yourself. So I'm going to go on a small tangent. Don't want to talk about Deflategate or cheating. Okay, we don't want to do any of that because we all know the Patriots never did any of that, which is why they destroyed all the videotapes, because there was nothing to see here. But let's stay on point. Let's stay on topic. Okay? Everyone talks about, and for those of you that don't watch football, I apologize. I haven't watched it much myself in the last couple of years. But for those of you that do watch football, you'll get this. For those of you who don't, then the analogy won't make sense. But a lot of people will say, hey, Bill Belichick is one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach of all time in football. And that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that comment. But for those of you who actually watch football, what does Bill Belichick do? He does two things, generally speaking. He plays to his strengths, right? He says, hey, this is what we're good at. We're going to do it. And two, he tries his best to take away the other person's greatest strength. Pretty simple concept, yes? Right? Hey, for example, we might have Randy Moss 2007. We're throwing the ball to Randy. If you can stop it, good for you, you'll beat us. But we're not coming in here and we're not going to do anything magically special. It's like when traders try to trade a penny stock and get rich quick. You're trying to do something outside of the norm. You're trying to do something different. See, you don't understand making money in the market's a systematic approach to winning. It's a systematic approach to making money. The casino doesn't change the rules. Why? Because the rules work in their favor. Bill Belichick plays the odds most of the time, and he's considered one of the greatest coaches of all time because he plays the percentages. Sure, every coach does something a little crazy once in a while. And when he's doing something crazy, you know it's because the other team's got him by the short hairs. For example, onside kick after this score. Onside kick after this score. Why? Because he was down 28-3. He had to go outside the box, and it didn't work. When he played the Eagles in the Super Bowl, remember some of those trick plays they tried? Because they were getting killed. That's when he has to do something special. My point is, as a trader, if you don't put yourself in that position in the first place, you won't have that emotional need to go outside of your comfort zone, outside of the box. You'll stay within yourself, and that's the goal. That's the key. Look, you are good at some things, and you're not good at others. Focus on what you're really good at, and try not to do what you're bad at. Meaning, maximize your strengths, minimize your weakness. So go with your strengths. Get your head right and learn your strengths and weaknesses, or choose another career. See, you don't need to be great at everything to make money in the markets. What happens, though, is, for example, I'm just throwing analogies out there. Maybe you're having a really bad week and you're losing some money, and that's uncomfortable for you and stressful for you. And what happens? You're in the chat room, you're on the internet, you're on Reddit or Wall Street Bets, and you see some other person out there, right? Some other person who just had the best week of their life. What's the first thing you do? Hey, what'd you trade this week? Wow, oh my gosh, you made 20 grand this week trading whatever that stock was, whatever that company was, right? Man, would you mind telling me what your management is? Oh, yeah, I do this, and this. What do you do? Monday morning, you're doing whatever that guy's doing, whatever that girl's doing, whatever that person's doing. You're taking the same stock they took with the same management they took because you're hoping that their voodoo magic is going to rub off on you because you had a bad week. What is that? That's going outside of your comfort zone for no good reason. You have to ask yourself, why did I have the bad week? Did I have the bad week because I was stupid? Did I have the bad week because I traded great and my plan just didn't work well that week? Or did you have the bad week because you broke your plan every day? Go with your strength. Stop trying to be something you are not. But here's the problem. You don't think you're that person. You think you're something else. Honestly, I mean, it's rhetorical. How many times have you done something for months at a time just expecting it to change in trading? Just totally expecting it to change. Like, I'm not going to do that tomorrow. I'm not going to do that next week. Yeah, I had a good night's sleep tonight. I'll be better tomorrow. And then you did the same thing. You made the same mistake over and over and over. You ever see it? In fact, it happened in this last Super Bowl. And I don't know why I'm talking so much football because I don't really watch it much anymore, right? They let one player beat them. How many touchdowns and how many receiving yards I can't remember the guy's name, did that receiver have in the Super Bowl? Rams, Bengals? Cup, that's it. A lot. Well, guess what? He's beating you. Make someone else beat you. I don't care if it's the fifth guy on the bench, but don't let that guy beat you. because he's been beating you, and they're going to keep going back to the well because it's working. You're going to just sit there and continue to let that one person beat you. Well, in your case, how we relate this back to you is you're beating yourself because you're not understanding yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're thinking you're something you're not. The proof is in the pudding. You've heard the phrase before. Stop lying to yourself. So let's take a look. How is this possible? On the next slide, how is this possible? How is this possible? How in the world can a guy who's 5'5" tall play in the NBA? It's impossible. But he's done it. Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues, there's a bunch of guys that are small. Heck, Allen Iverson at 5'11". How is it possible? I mean, Manute Bol's 7'7". Sean Bradley on the right-hand side here is 7'6". How is it possible? Seriously, think about it. How is it possible? Because he found a niche in the NBA that he could exploit. His quickness, right? His ball handling skills, his passing skills. All things that Manute Bol doesn't have. All things that Sean Bradley doesn't have. So, Spud Webb is never going to be a center in the NBA. Never. He's not big enough. But that doesn't mean he can't be an NBA player. Do you understand where I'm going with this? You may never be a 3R all or nothing trader. But that doesn't mean you can't be a profitable trader. But you haven't figured out what your niche is in trading. You haven't figured out what your strengths are. You're lying to yourself. Spud Webb's not under any misconception that he's going to ever be an NBA center. But that doesn't mean he can't be an NBA player. Okay? Here's another example. For those of you who watch tennis. On the left, Michael Chang. On the right, John Isner. They're completely different. Is Michael Chang ever going to win any fast serve competitions? Nope. Not ever. He's never going to win a fast serve competition. He's never going to serve 140 miles an hour. It's not going to happen. But does that mean he can't be a professional tennis player? Everyone has challenges in life. Everyone has shortcomings. Everyone has strengths and everyone has weaknesses. So John Isner, for example, his weakness is he's not very quick. He's not very fast. He's not very agile. But he's got a lot of power. He's got a big serve. Michael Chang, he is quick, he is fast, he is agile, but he doesn't have a lot of power. So one of them's going to have to play a finesse game, the other one's going to have to play a power game. You see where I'm going with this? But they were both effective tennis players. And you make a very strong argument, it's not even really a question, honestly, that Michael Chang was the better player. What was it, 1988 French Open champion? Something like that. He was an outstanding player, but he wasn't very big. You get the analogy by this point. You get the point. Just because you're not good at one thing specifically, say holding for huge targets, doesn't mean you can't find another way to make money as a trader. The problem is you're lying to yourself. You continue to tell yourself that if you work just a little bit harder, you will be that person. No, it's called a core belief. You ever hear the expression, leopards don't change their spots? People flex, but they don't really change. Right? Michael Chang's not trying to serve 140 miles an hour. He knows that's not going to happen. John Isner's not trying to be as quick as Michael Chang because he knows that's not going to happen. This isn't to say you can't improve upon your weakness, but you still have to go with your strength. You got to go with what you know. You have to go with what you're good at. The problem is most of you don't understand what you're good at. You lie to yourself and think you're good at something, but when you look at the numbers, it proves you're not good at that thing you think you're good at. So you want to be great? Keep it simple. Most great traders, guys, they keep it simple. Most great traders have a very specific daily routine. Most great traders keep their emotions in check. Most great traders have a very big why. Why are they a trader? Why are they even doing this? What's your why? Is your why big? Is your why small? Because I'm telling you, if your why is small, like, hey, I think I'll try that. It seems like kind of fun. It seems neat to work at home. That's not a big enough why. You hate your boss with a passion. You live in a crappy house, crappy neighborhood. It's dangerous. Your kids go to crappy schools. You want to do better for your family. You want to do better for your kids. That's a big enough why, probably. Most great traders are process-oriented, not outcome-oriented. Most of you want something. You just have no clue how you're going to get it. I've used this before, but it's that 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 21-year-old kid who's got the Lamborghini on the wall. Well, that's the outcome. I want that. But you have no idea how you're going to get it. That's where the process comes in. So what is your process? And why it's important to know what your process is because if you don't, one, you'll never get to the outcome, but two, you'll never understand your strengths and weaknesses, right? You really won't. If you don't know what your process is, you don't know where your strengths lie and where your weaknesses lie, okay? So for me, most of the profitable traders that I've met, okay, they go down a path of simplicity over years of trading. They literally continue to simplify. Unmol is actually a great example. You guys do realize, and he's said this, so it's not new, he trades on one monitor. And guess what? That monitor happens to be a laptop. He has an Asus laptop that's like 15, 16 inches. And then he has one of those little mini, what do they call those, Asus Duos or something, where there's a little mini screen in front of the keyboard. That's it. How many of you, don't have to answer this question, how many of you are sporting 6 monitors, 5 monitors, 3 monitors, 8 monitors? And the most profitable guy uses a freaking laptop. The monitors aren't making you rich. They're not. Okay? My point, I'm not saying you can't use 4 monitors. I'm just telling you that's not the reason you're not making money. I'm not saying, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you can't use more than 1 monitor. Sure, go ahead. But that's not the reason. So you got to go back to the process again and go, whoa, what's going on here? Why aren't I making money? Okay? Most great traders I know spend the majority of their time focusing on psychology, discipline, patience, maintaining objectivity, mindfulness, position sizing, risk management, improving efficiency, right? Trade management strategies. Guess what Anmol talks about all the time? What's he talk about all the time? Prepping for success. That's the book he wrote, Prepping for Success. Guess what? There's not a single technical chart in Prepping for Success. Not one. It's all about discipline, patience, maintaining objectivity, and getting your head right. Your focus is misguided, okay? It's also good, and this is going back to the why. It's also good to have reasons that will cause pain, right? If you don't do something right, you need to feel some pain, okay? Going back to your day job, losing your savings account, watching your kids go to an inferior school, all right? It's also good to have pleasure as well. Understanding that if I go through this pain, I'll come out on the other side smelling like roses. Basically, rewards that you'll be able to experience if you follow the process, the outcome will be justified, right? I guess emotional drivers for both sides is a good way to put it, right? Emotional drivers for both sides. You can't just say, yeah, I kind of want to do that, all right? It'll help keep you balanced, okay? Another comment, and to some extent, I kind of put myself in this category. I've known a lot of traders that have gone from losing to winning because they had to. They had no choice. Maybe they're having a baby and their wife can't work anymore, right? Or maybe a spouse got sick and the spouse can't work. You don't have a dual income anymore. And you're like, oh my gosh, we have to figure this out. And that was their driver, their emotional driver. Usually, guys, in my experience and from talking to experienced traders, it's three things. It's hard work, necessity, and time. Hard work, necessity, and time. You ever hear that boxer analogy, like you got soft? The lifestyle got to you. When you came from the streets. You were hungry. You were vicious. You were aggressive. Think Mike Tyson, perhaps. And then the lifestyle makes you soft. So hard work, necessity, and time. Okay? All great traders know it's just a game of odds. But those odds are over hundreds of trades. Not one trade, not even 10 trades. It's about odds over a series of trades. Accept the randomness of an individual outcome, right? So you have to have a big enough reason why. And then the process is another part of that why. Okay, I know what I want and I know I have to do this because anything else, I'm not going back to that lifestyle. Okay, great. That sounds great. But how? That's the process. How are you going to get outside of that? Okay? So think about this for a second. When the market goes against you, you hope that every day will be the last day. And you lose more than you should had you not listened to hope. And when the market goes your way, you become fearful that the next day will take away your profit and you get out too soon. The successful trader has to fight these two deep-seated instincts. Jesse Livermore, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. If you haven't read it, read it. It's a good book. Does that not paint almost all of you with the same brush? I know it. That was me. Think about that sentence. And you lose more than you should had you not listened to hope. Hopium. You hear me use that phrase, hopium? I derived it from this quote, from reading this book like 15 years ago. You're sitting there going, oh my gosh. I know I should have taken that stop loss. But I had taken 2 stop losses previously and I watched them bounce back. I'm not letting that happen again. So you don't take your stop loss because of the hope that it's going to go back up. Don't hope. And then the market goes in your direction, and what happens? You get out too soon because you're worried the market's going to pull back against me. Why? Because that one other trade, remember, the 2 that stopped you out and then went higher, oh my gosh. And then one other trade went like 5 cents from your target and then came all the way back and stopped you out. So now the next trade that goes 5 cents from your target, you sell it. And you get out too soon. And you will always fight these two things. The difference is it becomes easier. When you're a new alcoholic and you just quit, you can't go to a bar. That's like kryptonite. If you've been a recovering alcoholic for 20 years, you can go to wedding parties and not have an urge to drink. But not if it's your first 20 days. Probably want to stay away from those types of events. Successful traders, inexperienced new traders, we all fight it. Right? We all fight these deep-seated instincts. We're human beings. It's nature. But how do you handle it? And new traders usually fail this test. Guys, this book was written, does anybody know when it was written? Like in the 1960s or 70s? When was this book written? Somebody tell me. I'm thinking 60s, 70s. Okay, my point that I'm getting at is 1930s, was it? Anyway, the point I'm getting at, it's old. It's very, very old. Okay? Think about it for a second. I'm going to repeat myself. It's old. What hasn't changed in that 100 years? Human nature. Human nature. 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. Human nature stays the same. You are not different, my friends. You are the same. So stop thinking you're different. Stop telling yourself you'll be different tomorrow. Don't lie to yourself, okay? Because that's what you're doing. Comes back to this. Unmal talks about it frequently. He hasn't mentioned it in a little while. Comes back to this. Integrity. The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. Does your trading have integrity? Do you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it without question? If not, then you lack integrity. You don't take a stop loss, you lack integrity. You sell too soon, you lack integrity. You overtrade, you lack integrity. You risk too much on a trade, you lack integrity. Oh, don't tell me that, Jared. Oh, did I hurt your ego? Sorry, get over it. Facts don't care about your feelings. If you did something you shouldn't have done, you lacked integrity in that specific situation. We all do sometimes. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? You can't just say, I'll be better next time. That's a hollow statement, right? You can't just watch Oprah get all excited and be like, my life has forever changed because I saw Oprah yesterday. Bullshit. Do you know how many housewives sit at home and watch Oprah and they sit there in their middle-class $50K a year job communities and do nothing about it? Most of them. It's just a little feel-good hour. It's a little circle jerk hour. Is that what you want to be? Misery loves company? Talking to failed traders so you feel better about you? Why don't you talk to successful traders? And if they have some tough love and tough advice for you, take it. Because they're the ones who made it. So how's that look? Well, this happened yesterday. So this was JP Morgan yesterday. Little 2-minute 3-bar play that we took. All right. I ended up making a little bit of money on this. We moved to break even, and then it ultimately stopped full, right? Shakeout stop loss. And then it came right back down. So the first trade, I broke even. Right? I made $18 on it. We moved to break even. Okay. As soon as I saw that shakeout and I saw this bar engulfing, I got right back in it. Right back in it. Because I saw what happened. Chop. Immediately went lower, chopped around, went lower, and did this all day long. So there it is. This is 932. Watch JP Morgan under 139.50. A minute later, I'm calling it 139.60 by 140. And then I didn't throw in the move stop to break even. I should have put that in here. But anyway, and then it shook out and then it went lower. But a lot of people in here didn't get back in it. And I know some of those people have the 84% play in their plan. So if that's in your plan and you didn't get back in, let's go back a slide. You lacked integrity on that trade. If the plan says get back in, then you get back in. And in this particular case, it cost you a lot of money. A lot of money. Okay? A lot of money. Then, what about the next possibility? What if you did get back in, but you sold too soon? So it's good you followed your plan that getting back in, but then you still sold too soon. So what if you have a lower batting average and continually sell at 1.5R instead of the 3R all or nothing that your plan requires? Well, that's lacking integrity. So there's two answers here. Either try to gain some more integrity and hold the 3R, or go back to the original point that we talked about and maybe recognize you're not a 3R all or nothing trader. So then ask yourself, well, if I generally, frequently sell at 1.5R, what style of trading would allow me to be profitable at 1.5R? Do you see where I'm going with this? You can't just sit here and come in every day and be a 3R all or nothing trader and sell at 1.5 and say, I'll be better tomorrow. Then tomorrow you come in and it's 3R all or nothing again and you sell at 1.5R again. And then the next day is 3, and you get the point. Groundhog's Day, over and over and over and over again. And you're just telling yourself, I'll be better tomorrow. That's bullshit. You see, if it happens once in a while, that's fine. We all mess up once in a while. We're human. But if you're doing this over and over, and I think you guys know what I'm talking about because I know you do this, then you need to make an adjustment. You need to have some objectivity. You need to realize you're not a 3R trader. So find a way to make money at 1.5R. Let's go back. Let's go back. Come on, let's do it. Find a way to be a professional with your limitations. We all have limitations. None of us are perfect. Muggsy Bogues, Spud Webb, they found a way. Manute Bol, Sean Bradley, they found a way. But neither one of these guys is very athletic. They found a way to make a living in the NBA. You don't have to be Michael Jordan to make a living. Same in trading. You don't have to make $100,000 a month to be a professional trader. Your goal might be $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. Who knows? Find a way, but don't lie to yourself. Could you imagine if Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webb had the talent and ability to be a point guard in the NBA, but they kept telling themselves, no, I'll only go to the NBA if I can be a center. And nobody picks them up as a center. I'm only going to be a center in the NBA. That's it. They would have given up millions and millions of dollars and missed out on an opportunity to be a part of the NBA and have a legacy. Could you imagine? So stop. Stop telling yourself, I'm a 3R all or nothing trader, but I always sell at 1.5R. You're giving up an opportunity to make a living as a trader because you're lying to yourself. Now, this doesn't mean maybe someday you can be a 3R all or nothing trader. Perhaps. But right now you are not. Okay? So stop. Find a way to make money, even if it requires you being creative. So, when will the insanity stop? When will the insanity? I told you guys it would come up. Hi, Jared. First of all, I'm a big fan of yours. And thank you for all the YouTube videos, blah, blah, blah. I hate to admit this, but I did something really stupid. I still can't believe I did it. Okay. That's cool. You're admitting the mistake. I took what I thought was a good climactic setup on the weekly chart of YNDX. That's not really the problem. Uh-oh. Problem is, I didn't take my stop loss. I know, stupid. But I just thought there was no way this could go much lower. And if it did, then it would definitely come back. Why? You can think why they thought that, because it's already climactic, right? If it's already climactic, how much lower could it really go, right? So it's not like the world's most insane thought process, okay? But it's a little bit insane. It's not the world's craziest thing we've ever heard, but it's a little crazy. But now I'm way down on this position, over 25 grand. I honestly don't know what to do. Do you have any advice for me? I'm sick to my stomach and so angry with myself. The part that really bugs me is that I used to enjoy watching your When Will the Insanity Stop segments, never ever imagining I could do something so stupid. It just goes to show no one is immune to being dumb. I appreciate the candor. I appreciate the candor and honesty. I do. But the reality of the situation is that it could go lower. I don't know this person's entry or stop loss. I'm just making an assumption. I honestly do not know where they got in, They said a weekly climactic, and I'm assuming somewhere in this range. And then this happened to them. Okay? That hurts. And the problem with this is, and we've all been there to some level, maybe not that bad. The problem is, Murphy has a funny way, usually painful, of teaching us a lesson. Yes? Murphy has a funny, crazy way of teaching us a lesson. Then this happens. Shit. Yandex stock sinks before trading in Russia's search engine halted. The index halted, but set to slide another 21% after new sanctions 1 day ago. 21 hours, Uber cuts ties with Russian ride-sharing service. What's the point? Holy shit. Could you have picked a worse time to not take your stop loss? The answer is no. It's bad enough you didn't take your stop loss. It's bad enough this stock sank really poorly. And then this happens. That's what this person must be thinking. You've got to be kidding me. It's not bad. It's bad enough I didn't take my stop. It's bad enough you kicked me when I'm down. And now it's halted, set to sink another 21%. Fook. That stock could go BK. This could be a total loss for this person. I don't know. And I certainly hope not. I'm not wishing that on this person. But holy shit. You know the expression, it just takes one? We say it all the time. It just takes one. And you guys are thinking to yourself, well, it's not going to be this one. Right? That's what people who don't take their stop loss, the thought process is, well, it won't be this one. Well, for this person, it is this one. Right? It's this one. Because this, I think this has been halted for, 4 or 5 days now? Last I checked, it was like the February 25th. This was still halted. I don't know if it's open today or not. I haven't checked. But, hello? What if it drops another 20%? What if it goes below 10? What if it goes below 5? You could not have picked the worst time to not take your stop loss. It's a career-ending move. Think about it for a second. You could take thousands and thousands of trades and do this just once, and your career is over. It's finished. So the next time you think about breaking your stop loss and you think, well, it's only Facebook. Well, Facebook's getting killed too. Could you imagine a couple months ago if you had Facebook and you're like, yeah, it's Facebook, it'll come back, and now it's down some 30%? Think about it. It's still halted on YNDX. Don't do it, guys. And I feel bad for this person. I do. I mean, this is one of those you genuinely, truly feel bad for somebody. Who knows what's going to happen with this company? I have no idea. And this might be the end of this person's trading career. So the next time you think about doing something stupid, selling too soon, not taking a stop, over trading, revenge trading with higher risk. We had that at one of our mentorships a couple years ago. The guy was having a really bad day, and he decided that he was going to triple his risk to get his money back. He shouldn't have been in that position in the first place because he broke his rules to get there. So isn't it really bad when you double down on crap? Think about it. The first mistake you made is breaking your plan and putting yourself in a huge, massive hole. And then to get out of the hole, you double, triple your risk. And then that doesn't work either. And all of a sudden, instead of losing, say, max 2R, you lose 20R that day. People do this, guys. It's not a joke. People do this every day. Someone in the chat room does it every day. Someone listening online has done it today or yesterday. Guaranteed. 100% chance. Someone does it every day. Just don't be that person. Okay? If you want to make money, you need to follow rules. Unmol made $7,800 yesterday. $7,800 yesterday. And he wasn't perfect. He lost on HPQ. But you had a bull call on DLR, HPE options, FTNT options, CSIQ options, FCX options, BAC options. IP worked nicely. JP Morgan worked nicely. Open worked nicely. $7,800. Here's a day you made $9,000. You don't make this kind of money by being stupid. And note, especially on the $9,000 day, there's a lot of losses in here. I mean, they're small, and some of these are still open positions. But the closed positions are pretty nice. And note, position 0. Why does it say 0? Because he's hit his minus $1,000 maximum loss. These are still open right there at the time because they didn't hit the minus $1,000 maximum loss, and they're not all going to, they wouldn't all stop, right? This is what following your plan looks like. 3R out, 3R out, 3R out. Okay? This one, minus 1,000 out. The rest, hold on to them. That's what good trading looks like. Guys, take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 red days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 green days. 13 green, 6 red. It's a little below average for Unwall, right? He's usually in that 15.5 range, right? Sometimes 16.4 range. So what? Those 6 red days, in spite of those 6 red days, he still made $35,000. 35 grand. And that's not even a great month, right? You guys saw last week, I showed you a $65,000 month. The point I'm making is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to follow your rules. Follow your plan. Stop thinking you know better than your plan. Stop thinking you know yourself better than you do. Meaning, you know what you're strong at. You know what you're weak at. Stop lying to yourself. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay? It's a recipe for disaster. The reason I wanted to show this to you is you all think that profitable trading means you need to be perfect. You do not. Right? So let's do this. 19 days, 13 divided by 19. He's up 68% of the time. Perfect. So 30% of the time he's down. Sometimes it's 20% of the time. Sometimes it's 40% of the time. But at the end of the month, there's always money there. You don't need to be perfect. You don't have to make money every single day. Okay? On a different note, same concept about simplicity that we were talking about earlier, but I want to wrap it around, right? The market always goes up, guys. It always goes up. Historically speaking, many of you have heard me say this before. Historically speaking, the market is up 72% of the time. Over the last 40 years, it's up over 80% of the time. So basically, let's just call it 3 out of 4 years the market is up. On average, 3 out of 4 years the market is up. Okay? Sure, there's pullbacks. That's life, right? Guys, that crash in 1929 or so doesn't look so big now, does it? Back then, it was massive. It was huge. But, some 100 years later, holy shnikes. So in 1972, the Dow hit 1,000. It took 15 years for the Dow to double. 15 years for the Dow to double. Then from doubling after that, it took 8 years, right? From 1995, it took 2 years to double after that, from 4 to 8,000. From 8,000 to 16,000, it went from 1997 to 2013. So it took 16 years for it to double there. So note, there's fluctuations. The market goes up and goes down. But one thing it always does, though, is go up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. Now, why am I showing you this? What does this have to do with anything you're talking about, Jared? Over the last 10 years, the market is up over 13% per year compounded. Yet the average investor has returned just 2.9%. Why? Why? Because they're stupid. Buy a total market fund and go to sleep. Take 10 or 20% of your income and just put it in there. And you're like, what does that have to do with trading? Everything. Everything. Because you guys are trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel has already been invented for you. Stop trying to fix it. Wait, let me go back. Hold on. The wheel has already been invented for you. Stop trying to fix it. The wheel has already been invented for you. Stop trying to fix it. The process, the system has already been developed. So you got to ask yourself, why are you only getting 2.9% returns when the market's getting 13? You get the analogy. It's not about getting a 2.9% return. It's about underperforming because you don't know yourself. You are trying to beat yourself. And by trying that, you're beating yourself. It goes all the way back to this. Most traders beat themselves, right? Most traders beat themselves. Ask yourself, are you beating yourself? And if so, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You're going to just keep doing what you've been doing? Keep getting what you've always gotten. You've heard that phrase before? If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. You see, the people that are unsuccessful in the world think that people that have money are just lucky. I think it's something like 65 or 70% of millionaires in America are self-made. Okay, so I don't want to hear, oh, well, all the millionaires in the world are trust fund kids. And no, they're not. They're not. The majority of them are self-made. Okay? Ask yourself, what are these people doing differently than what you are doing? Ask yourself that very question. What are these people doing that you are not? This is a freaking secretary who retired with $8.2 million. This is a grocer who retired with $13 million. This is a janitor who retired with $8 million. When they passed away, this is what their net worth was. Guys, I don't know about you. I don't know a lot of janitors that make great money. I don't know any that make $100,000 a year. Maybe there are some. I don't know. Most secretaries, I'm sure there are some that get paid very well. Executive secretaries probably make good money these days. But the general gist here is, I think we can all agree that these people did not have huge salaries. But they retired in the top 1%. But their salary was in the top 50%. So they were extraordinarily better than what their job would suggest. So this isn't about long-term investing, even though you could tie it into that. It's about what are you doing that's causing you to be so average? And usually you're putting your foot in your own mouth. You're not making necessary changes. You're not accepting who you are as a trader. You're unwilling to accept yourself for who you are. This doesn't mean you can't better yourself, but you're continuing the same thing over and over and you're expecting a different result. Okay, yeah, that's right, Johnny boy, Warren Buffett. Eighth wonder of the world, compounded interest. So, remember, our enemy is not lack of preparation. It's not the difficulty of the project or the state of the marketplace or the emptiness of our bank account. The enemy is our chattering brain, which, if we give it so much as a nanosecond, will start producing excuses, alibis, transparent justifications, and a million reasons why we can't, shouldn't, won't do what we know we need to do. It's from Stephen Pressfield. The book's called Do the Work. Do the work. The Bill Belichick line is do your job. Do your job. Do the work. A million reasons why we can't, shouldn't, or won't do what we need to do. It ain't the charts. Trust me. It's not the chart. It's you that's the problem. Unmol comes in every day and proves to you. It's not the charts that are the problem. You're the problem. So ask yourself, what are you going to do about your problem? Are you going to build a consequence system? Are you going to find an accountability partner? Are you going to go back and actually really dig into your trading plan and go, what parts of this plan am I having the most difficulty following? And because I'm having that difficulty, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to make a consequence for that action? Or am I going to change it because I know I can't follow it? What are you going to do about it? Do not let your ego make that decision. Let reality make that decision. Let your results make that decision. Those are the things you need to ask yourself, okay? Because we are living in a world of victims. We already had this discussion a few weeks ago. If you're living in America, Europe, Canada, a lot of other countries, I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Because there's about 3 or 4 billion people that would kill to be in your position. Literally kill to be in your position. So I don't want to hear the can't, shouldn't, won't excuses. I am not suggesting it will be easy for everybody. I'm not suggesting you're all starting at the same starting line. You're not. Some are starting with a handicap. I get this. But you still have the opportunity if you're in this country. I don't want to hear the excuse. So stop making them. And stop lying to yourself. Start being more mindful. Start being objective. Okay? So, I hope that you guys got a little bit of a fire lit under your ass. I hope that you guys will start realizing that you are the problem, but you are also the solution, which is wonderful because that means you can make change. When the problem is someone else's, you've given up the power to change. The good news is the problem isn't someone else and it's yours. So you can change. You can make the necessary adjustments to be a great trader. But you got to ask yourself, how is Spud Webb able to make it in the NBA? How is Michael Chang able to make it and win the French Open? How is Bill Belichick so good? Because they go to their strengths. Find what yours are. Don't lie to yourself about it, and then go maximize them. All right, so I hope you guys learned a little bit about being more mentally disciplined, understanding who really is trading, and finding out what motivates you. And I don't know that for all of you. You only can sort that out. But at least I hope it will help set a little bit of a fire under you and lead you on the path to better trading and more profitable trading. All right, I'm Jared Wesley of Live Traders. We'll get back at it again next week.